Here we see the president and the first bitch. Hey, slow down, you bitch. Let me catch up.
Crucial.
I'm hungry. I need some bacon.
Look at this. Look at it. This is the city I'm in right now.
Here we see President Clinton looking for something, anything, to hug besides his wife.
Norm MacDonald, one of the craziest fucking comedians I ever heard in my life. This dude got the most unique sense of humor I ever heard, literally. Now, y'all might know him from Saturday Night Live or the movie Dr. Dolittle.
Looks like they need to talk to a doctor, Doc.
But few know him for his stance on politics. You know, he claims to not really dig politics and all that. And most say they still don't know if he's left or right. Though he has said he's conservative a couple times. Now, people who watch SNL and his comedy, they know he's into some real edgy stuff, and it comes off as just like vulgar, extreme comedy or shock value comedy or whatever. But if you really peep him, man, I don't know. Let's get into this.
This Indonesian accused of illegally raising millions for the Democratic Party. Earlier this week, Secret Service logs showed that Mr. Wong had visited the Clinton White House more than 60 times. But on Friday, administration spokesman revealed that there are actually two John Wongs. Furthermore, they stressed that the John Wong who visited the White House is a different man. He isn't the fundraiser. He's the guy who killed Vince Foster. On Capitol Hill this week, 17 Republican congressmen formally asked the House Judiciary Committee whether there is sufficient evidence to begin impeachment proceedings against President Clinton. In response, the president said, quote, "Hey, you know who would have the answer to that question? Vince Foster." This weekend, veteran news anchorman David Brinkley apologized to Bill Clinton for an election night commentary in which he called the president, quote, "boring and uncreative." Admitted Brinkley, there was certainly nothing uncreative about the way you moved Vince Foster's body. The president's a murderer. You didn't know that?
Bill Clinton was found innocent of that murder, though, which makes it stranger that Norm's even saying that on TV.
When Vince Foster left his White House office on that July day in 1993, he told his secretary that he would be back. But the deputy White House counsel and boyhood friend of Bill Clinton never returned. And almost 3 years later, theories and speculation about his mysterious death live on. On July 20th, 1993, Vincent Foster's body was found here in Fort Marcy Park in Northern Virginia, just outside of the District of Columbia. But that's about the only thing about Foster's death that all parties can agree on. How Foster's body got here, even how Foster died, is still not clear. The 1994 report by independent counsel Robert Fisk says the evidence overwhelmingly supports the conclusion that Vincent Foster killed himself in Fort Marcy Park, and adds, quote, "There is no evidence to the contrary." But that is simply not true. Here are just some of the inconsistencies, many from Fisk's own report. Police say Foster walked to the edge of this steep berm, sat down and pressed a 1913 .38 caliber pistol deep against the back of his mouth and pulled the trigger. The gunshot wound should have been extremely gory, because a large caliber handgun often leaves a large wound, while the heart typically keeps pumping, leaving a lot of blood and brain tissue called blowback all over the weapon. There was none. The coroner said the exit wound for the .38 caliber bullet was only about 1 inch wide. There was an unusually small amount of blood under Foster's head, and no bone fragments. No bullet was found either, even though searchers managed to find all sorts of ammunition dating back to the Civil War. Powder burns indicate Foster's hands were not on the grip of the gun when it was fired. His teeth were not damaged from the recoil of the .38. There was no trace of soil or grass on Foster's shoes, even though he supposedly walked 700 feet through the park. No one in the park that day ever saw Foster alive.
So what they mean is, when you shoot yourself with a gun, especially when you put a gun in your mouth, the gun is gonna, when you shoot a gun, it cocks back, it like jumps up. From the gunshot, it'll jump up, crack his teeth. He didn't have that. And also, when a gun is that close to where it's shooting at, there's obviously going to be blood all over the gun, and there was no blood on the gun.
No one reported hearing a gunshot. Foster's fingerprints were not on the weapon. Foster's wife had trouble identifying the gun as her husband's. The .38 was made from two guns, fitting the classic profile of a hard-to-trace drop gun, often used to make murders look like suicides. Foster was covered from head to toe with carpet fibers. Blood tracks on his face and shoulder indicate his head had been moved in as many as 4 positions after he allegedly pulled the trigger, even though death was determined to have been instantaneous. And blood trails from Foster's nose and mouth inexplicably defied gravity and traveled upwards as he lay on the steep slope. Critical crime scene photographs are missing. The first paramedics on the scene from this fire station in McLean, Virginia said they found Foster lying perfectly straight as if ready for the coffin, and suggested later they thought it was a homicide. And some of their accounts about where they found Foster's body differ from where the park police say it was, suggesting police wanted to conceal the real crime scene from reporters and others.
At what point do you begin saying something is wrong here? This doesn't add up.
Chris Ruddy of the Pittsburgh Tribune-Review is the only reporter known to be working on the Foster death full-time. His work has been compiled in the book Vincent Foster, The Ruddy Investigation.
There's been a tremendous reluctance by authorities to look into this case. We saw that Robert Fisk came along and basically rubber-stamped the police investigation. His FBI agents went before Congress and said the park police made no major errors in their case, which is laughable. Ken Starr, the independent counsel, said he was going to look into this, but we know that he has been unwilling to get to the bottom of this.
Starr's lead prosecutor quit last year after he said he was kept from pursuing the case too vigorously. There were plenty of witnesses in the park the day Foster was found, and you're about to hear from one of them. Washington, D.C. resident Patrick Knowlton was at Fort Marcy about an hour before Foster's body was discovered, and he agreed to this exclusive interview with CBN News. Knowlton has passed a polygraph test.
As soon as I came up the driveway here, I noticed a brown Honda parked there, older reddish-brown, rust-brown colored Honda with Arkansas license plate. As I pulled in, I saw another vehicle parked maybe 4 spaces down. I didn't see the license plate. All I saw was a single gentleman sitting in the car. He had the car backed in. But then when the window came down, and he gave me this intense glare like, you shouldn't be here kind of look. You should leave kind of look. I took it to heart that he was here for some kind of activity that he wasn't here to enjoy the park. That's what I thought. The glare was very intense and just made me feel very uneasy.
Knowlton went up into the park to relieve himself, and when he came back, he noticed a dark blue suit jacket, a briefcase, and 2 empty wine cooler bottles in the brown Honda with Arkansas plates. Knowlton called authorities the next day, but was never questioned until 9 months later in 1994. Then in 1995, when he was subpoenaed to appear before a grand jury, strange things began to happen.
I was actually beginning to be harassed by well-dressed men who approached me either head-on or walked at me or walked from the side of me or walked from behind me, just giving me intense glares.
Men Knowlton said were clearly trying to frighten him into not testifying. He took witnesses with him when he was followed, including a reporter who verified that it was not his imagination. Then there's the mysterious letter that the White House offered as Foster's suicide note. The letter, torn into 28 pieces, suddenly appeared in Foster's office briefcase after it had already been searched twice. The letter is in fact not a suicide note, and it has no fingerprints on it, even though it was found ripped in more than 24 pieces. Even stranger, 3 leading handwriting experts examined it and declared it to be an obvious forgery. But perhaps most disturbing are instances where FBI agents either misstated what witnesses told them or tried to get them to change their story. Knowlton says what he told agents was changed in the official report.
When I was shown those 302s, I looked at them and I started reading them and thinking, you know, those aren't my words, that's not what I said.
The FBI version of Knowlton's statement said that, among other things, he would not be able to pick out the man he saw in the parking lot in Fort Marcy.
What in fact I told them was if they showed me a lineup or if they gave me a photo spread, I could have picked the guy out, you know, very easily.
With the help of a police artist, Knowlton even sketched this drawing of the man. FBI agents also appeared to try to get Arkansas State Troopers to change their account of the time that they learned of the Foster death. Roger Perry, a 20-year veteran, was working as Governor Jim Guy Tucker's bodyguard on July 20th, 1993, when he received a call from Helen Dickey, who was Chelsea Clinton's nanny.
It was sometime between 6:30 and 7:30 p.m. Helen Dickey called me from the White House and told me that Vince Foster had gotten off work that evening, went out to his car in the parking lot and shot himself in the head.
You remember those words specifically?
That's the exact words. I wrote those words down on a steno pad.
When Dickey called Perry is crucial, because if there is a cover-up of the Foster death, it could unravel around the White House claims of when it knew about the death. If the White House knew earlier than it says it did, then that would have allowed officials time to clear Foster's office. On the day he died, Foster left his office at about 1 p.m. Foster's body was first discovered at 5:45 p.m. by a man known as Confidential Witness. Shortly after 6 p.m., Park Police and paramedics arrived on the scene. At 6:37 p.m., police at the scene knew that the body was that of White House official Vince Foster. But the Clinton administration says the White House was not notified until 8:30 p.m. It says the staff was not notified until after 9, and President Clinton was supposedly not told until after his first hour on CNN's Larry King Live program at 10 p.m. Perry says Dickey called between 7:30 and 8:30 Eastern. Dickey told the Senate Whitewater Committee she didn't learn of Foster's death until 10 p.m. and didn't call Perry until 10:30.
So try these words out. Droll, sarcastic, controversial, hilarious. Well, those are some of the words that are used to describe Norm MacDonald's character on his sitcom, Norm. But as you will see in this clip, people may think twice before they use the words smooth or charming. Please welcome Norm MacDonald.
What's up, man?
Okay, Norm, you're Canadian.
Yes, I am.
So what do you think of this whole presidential mess?
Well, I hope that the Democrats don't steal the election from the winner, you know, but who knows?
Oh, of course they wouldn't, Norm. Why the fuck would they do that? Why would they do that?
And they've just been told that they're going to wrap up for the night. So what are they doing here?
What are they doing here? Election, dipshit. Even the Simpsons told you how they were going to do that type of shit, except they were blaming the Republicans, of course, when in fact it was, this all entertainment.
You like George Bush, don't you?
I love George Bush, man. He's a good man, decent, you know, none of this. He's, you know, he's not a liar, a crook, murderer, or anything like that. So it'd be good to get the. See, I think we should get the homicide out of the White House and get like a fresh start, because we don't want any more murderers.
Well, little did he know at that time that George Bush family was in cahoots with the Clintons as well, and was no different than them.
We don't want any more murderers.
I think we should just go on to the next question.
Murderers.
Yeah.
Oh, Clinton, he murdered a guy.
Yeah, you know, we're not allowed to, you're not allowed to put out no accusations with that.
That's a little too far.
That's the way it does work.
Let's just go on to the next question.
Yeah.
This is not my week. What can I tell you?
Look how even back then they would shut you down talking about a Democrat like that. And as you see with the Vince Foster story, there was clearly a lot of bullshit going on with that. This is all entertainment in a movie.
So it was well after 10 o'clock.
It was well at my best estimation that I called the governor's mansion was 10:30.
Okay.
Helen Dickey says that she called you at 10:30 at night, Eastern.
That can't be. There's no way. When she called me, It was between 6:30 and 7:30 p.m. Arkansas time.
And Perry and another trooper have signed sworn affidavits to that effect. Other persons Perry then called affirmed that it was early evening. White House phone records that could clear up the discrepancy have not been produced. But when Perry was questioned by the FBI, he got the distinct feeling that agents were trying to get him to say the calls came later.
So you got a feeling that they were perhaps trying to steer your memory a certain direction?
I think they were trying to get me to say that it was possible that I was wrong.
Former U.S. Attorney Joseph DeGeneva says he's never doubted that Foster committed suicide. But what troubles him is the cover-up that began after Foster's death.
It is obvious to me that the lengths to which people went after his death to deal with his office and to prevent people from the Justice Department getting in there.
This is not my week. What can I tell you?
Oh, it's not mine either, and I'm being very nice, okay? Be a good boy. Be a good boy. Be a good boy. Now, Norm.
Do you never hear that?
No. Listen,
Norm,
we don't need
I
to
don't
talk
want to get
about
into
that.
this, and I don't want to hear it, and this is not the place to make those accusations. And you're supposed to be funny. Let's get on to the next
Exactly.
question. So get with it.
There you go.
This is a live show.
Not for nothing, Norm, but you have been properly chastised by Barbara, so I'm not going to ask the next question.
I thought it was a matter of record.
Shut up. Shut up. Look,
Okay.
let me do this, okay?
Now, he's getting a lot of warning from these witches in this movie. This is all entertainment. And it's very important to what's going to happen later on. And she acts like this ain't the place to discuss them kind of politics. But nowadays, all they do is discuss trash about Trump and the Republicans and all that crap.
I'll tell you what's a matter of record. You will not be invited back if you don't shut up. All right, now. Let's talk football.
All right, manslaughter.
Let's talk football.
Norm, did you ever hear the word?
The phone is ringing.
I certainly hope that's somebody calling to tell you to go home.
Oh, no.
Dude, you got a phone ringing.
Oh.
Answer the phone.
Hello? Oh, yeah. Oh, no. The thing is this. There, you know Matt Strauss?
Yeah, the producer.
The producer. He told me it would be funny. He said, like, why don't you carry a cell phone on and then let it ring and then pretend like there's a guy on it?
Is there anybody on it?
No, it's a thing. Pretend.
You know what, Norm? You're a dead man.
Here, you talk to him then.
You know what, Barbara? You know what you said about rage and work?
Give this man the plate of soup and tell him to shut up.
You're a dead man. You're a dead man. You're a dead man.
What was in there? Why was it being removed? What were the reasons for it? And who were they trying to protect?
And Ruddy says a government cover-up of the Foster death carries grave implications for every American.
It's not just an interesting unsolved mystery case. If our law enforcement agencies can be subordinated for political reasons, all of us in this country are threatened by that.
Friends of Vincent Foster have said they wish the questioners would just let him rest in peace. But it doesn't appear that's going to happen until a few more of the questions about his death are answered. Dale Hurd, CBN News, in Fort Marcy Park.
It's a much more serious matter.
And a few weeks ago, Special Prosecutor Kenneth Starr appointed a new deputy prosecutor with a background in homicide to, among other things, settle questions about the Foster death. Starr's lead deputy prosecutor, Hickman Ewing, told the Memphis Commercial Appeal, quote, "There remain questions about Foster's death. Was it murder? Was it suicide? Either way, why?" Almost all of those questions have been generated by public documents ignored by the major media, even though they offer a treasure trove of contradictions and mysterious details.
Wow, so the media was just ignoring shit? Is that, like, the shit I've been complaining about? Must be because if they wouldn't have ignored it, they would have been banned, shadow banned, or killed. Now this is all entertainment.
All right, then. Let's see.
Norm.
Okay, listen, Norm, listen. Not only have you annoyed us, but I've read that you have actually annoyed one of your idols. Who is that?
Oh, the great Bill Cosby.
Yeah, what'd you do?
Oh, my God, I love that guy. He's my hero, you know, just like you, maybe Bill Clinton would be your hero. I love...
There's no stopping you, is there?
No, I used to like Bill Clinton.
There really, and this man leads into our show on Friday night.
Now, he might be wrong about that Bill Cosby again, but anyone at the left pretty much cancels and outs the way they did Bill Cosby, I just have second thoughts about. I remember Bill Cosby came to Milwaukee and was standing up for some black kids that was getting bullied for being smart. So, I don't know, they would attack a guy like that. And whether his past was messed up or not, like everybody else's, he was on like a real good trajectory to just helping people. And then all of a sudden he got destroyed. And I don't know if none of that's true or not, but let's continue.
I know.
It's all right. His career's over after this anyway. Who cares? Go ahead, Norm.
No, Bill Clinton, who's a great man, obviously. You know, everybody has their opinions, right?
Mm-hmm. Are you moving along?
No,
You're
Bill
gonna get to the point.
Cosby.
Cosby.
Oh, God. Norm MacDonald and I are on The Millionaire today.
Oh, yeah.
But tell him about that, how you thought he's dumb today. Where do you see him tonight?
Dumb as in bringing up that murder of Bill Clinton's like that on TV is what she means. In this movie, it's all entertainment.
Details that caught the eye of an astute Texas accountant named Hugh Sprunt.
I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I don't consider myself a conservative or a liberal.
But Sprunt helped bring attention to the case through his initial investigation.
Whoever wrote these official reports, and there have been 4 on the Foster death, they must have expected no one to read the underlying investigative record because the disconnects are so fundamental.
Sprunt marvels at all of the basic inconsistencies of the official investigation, including even the color of the gun found in Foster's hand. It doesn't take a color TV to see that the gun shown in this death scene photo is black. Then why do FBI documents suggest that Foster's wife Lisa was shown a silver gun as the death weapon, which she then confirms as her husband's?
Lisa is not a gun person, but she knows her colors. Why did she say she thought the gun that killed her husband was this silver gun if the FBI presented her with the black gun at the beginning of the interview? I've tried to reconcile that in my mind and come up with an innocent explanation, and I don't have one.
The only conclusion that can be reached is that Mrs. Foster was shown a silver gun. Then there is the confused and sometimes panicky testimony of the Fairfax County EMS workers who found the body. One of the first on the scene, Richard Arthur, thinks that he saw a silver semi-automatic in Foster's hand. And during a 1994 deposition to the counsel for the Senate Banking Committee, Arthur became upset when it appears he felt he was being railroaded into calling the death a suicide. Arthur to Senate Banking Committee counsel Glenn Ivey. From what I saw, there's a question. Now, if I was to take you for your word, then fine, it could be a suicide. But I'm still saying there's a question because I didn't see all that. And if a man put a gun in his mouth and blew his head backwards, how did the gun get under his leg? How come he was laying perfectly straight? How come there was only blood going down the right side of his neck, down the right shoulder? Why not the left? Then the record shows that Arthur became so disturbed that his lawyer had to tell him to relax. Another Fairfax County EMS worker at the scene initially coded the death as a homicide, but all have been warned not to talk to the media about it. Vince Foster was a key figure in both Whitewater and in the firing of the White House travel office workers, the affair now called Travelgate. And questions still surround the White House cleanup operations that took place in his office the night he died. These are the White House alarm logs. They show who entered what offices and when. And they show that on the night of Foster's death, there's a mysterious entry into David Watkins and Patsy Thomason's office. Apparently a short time after Thomason logged in herself. It shows something called a MIG group. What is a MIG group? Pritchard got a fishy response from the Secret Service.
They first told me it wasn't them. Then they got back to me and said, no, we were wrong, it is our group. And they were doing an alarm check. And there's nothing sinister about it. And I said, well, what does it stand for? And he said, well, we can't tell you what it stands for, and it's classified anyway.
Pritchard thinks MIG Group stands for Maintenance and Installation Group, part of the technical division of the Secret Service. Persons who might be capable of disabling an alarm, shutting off a surveillance camera, or cracking a safe. We don't know if they met with Patsy Thomason or what was discussed, But we do know that later that evening, Foster's office was entered and files were removed, something the White House first tried to deny. And finally, there is the mysterious story of Mr. X. In 1993, Mr. X made a series of phone calls to Paul Rodriguez, now managing editor for Insight Magazine, sister publication of the Washington Times. Mr. X told Rodriguez that on July 20th, the day Foster died, he saw a man fitting Foster's description being carried through Fort Marcy Park by two well-dressed men. Mr. X told Rodriguez that the man, who appeared to be drunk, was carried from a car in the parking lot and into the woods. Mr. X said he saw the two men lie the third man down on his back in a spot that matches the location where Foster was found. Rodriguez says he doesn't know if Mr. X was telling the truth, but he knows this. Mr. X recounted details of the case that at the time were still secret. He also says that the man obviously feared for his life.
I've dealt with a lot of kooky individuals, given the types of stories I've worked on, but I detected a true fear. He called just about a half dozen, maybe 8-9 times, by way of the sound. They were from payphones, usually along highways. You could hear the big trucks. The man was very emotionally upset, very concerned for the safety of himself, concerned for the safety of his two children.
Mr. X eventually stopped calling and has never been heard from again. He may be yet another piece to the puzzle of what really happened to Vincent W. Foster. The passage of time has not settled the many questions surrounding the Foster death. In fact, as time passes and more information is made available, the more questions there seem to be.
People always told me Hollywood was like incredibly liberal and biased, and I thought it was untrue. But
You want to talk about the millionaire?
Yes, I do.
You have 10 seconds to talk about the millionaire.
Don't tell how much
Don't tell him what I won?
No.
Oh.
You're not allowed to tell anything like that.
Well, what are you trying to ask him then?
I don't know.
Okay.
He doesn't answer anything anyway.
Okay, so he's on The Millionaire tonight, and he's on Friday nights, and
on Monday his taxes will be audited. Monday his taxes will be audited. Monday his taxes will be audited.
So he's on Friday nights at 9. He's on The Millionaire at 9. You can play along at home on Enhanced TV. You are a number. I have never met anything like you. We will be right back.
That girl's making plenty little jokey threats about how funny it is to just cover up a murder by killing other people who speak about it. Like, this shit is cute. This all entertainment, though.
What all this proves is that the Fisk report, the official ruling on Foster's death, is a pack of lies.
Pritchard and others vow that the Foster story is not going to go away.
We will find out what happened. And when the public learns the full story, I think it will be devastating.
Well, more bad news for Bill Clinton. This week, an appellate court ruled that Paula Jones can proceed with her sexual harassment suit against the president.
When it came to Clinton, he didn't stop at the Foster stuff. He went in about the Paula Jones stuff, who was one of 3 victims who was at Trump's press conference when he was ready to debate Hillary Clinton. He brought them all 3 up there. But before we get to that, let's check out these SNL clips.
Jones' suit is based on a 1991 hotel room encounter during which she alleges that then-Governor Clinton dropped his pants and exposed himself. She is seeking $700,000 in damages, $100,000 for trauma after seeing the governor's penis, and $300,000 for each thigh. This week, in arguments before the Supreme Court, lawyers for President Clinton asked that the sexual harassment suit brought by Paula Jones be delayed until he leaves office. According to Clinton's attorney, quote, if the president were hauled into court every time some nut accused him of sexual harassment, he'd have no time to scare up tail. You like scaring up the tail. Okay. Connecticut, a 5-year-old child writes, "Dear Mr. President, when the Republicans are finished wasting taxpayer money on their Whitewater witch hunt, perhaps they can join you in your efforts to protect Medicare and the environment and to expand the earned income tax credit." P.S. Paula Jones was asking for it. Here's one from Elizabeth A. of Long Island, who wrote, "Dear President Clinton, Newt Gingrich is a bad, bad man." Also, Paula Jones was asking for it. The Supreme Court will begin hearing arguments over whether Paula Jones' sexual harassment suit against President Clinton may proceed. Jones, who claims that while governor of Arkansas, Clinton exposed himself to her in a hotel room, says that she can accurately and precisely describe the president's genitalia. But White House spokesman scoffed, quote, "Any woman who's worked in the state of Arkansas for the last 20 years could do that."
Paula Jones is here. And to me, after we clear away everything, the whole thing is about one issue. And here's what I think is going on. In fact, here is what's going on. It's not just my opinion. The president perjured himself in his deposition for the Paula Jones civil case when he denied that he had a sexual relationship with Monica Lewinsky. Now, Kenneth Starr charges that he possibly broke the law again by covertly asking Monica and perhaps other people to lie under oath too. This is why Paula matters, because without Paula, there's no Monica. And stripping away the layers of the onion, for those of us who cook, there really is a deeper issue underneath the Clintonite spin of this right-wing conspiracy to get the president, because I guess apparently conservatives are not letting the president keep his pants zipped up or something. And also underneath the feeding frenzy of the news media and beneath what seems like to me the total hypocrisy of all the feminist organizations, not to mention the glee that the conservatives display believing they bring down a Democrat president, which has totally backfired on them. The real issue here underneath all the stuff is sexual harassment. In the workplace. And the fact is that both of these people's lives, our president and Paula's lives, were altered, and so was the life of our country altered forever because of what happened on May 8, 1991.
Now, we're about to show when she went on one of these news stations, one of these pieces of shit was trying to downplay her like she was beneath Bill Clinton and somebody he wouldn't even want and shit like this. Check this out.
With all due respect, why would Bill Clinton care about you? So you turned him down.
I don't appreciate that. That was really rude.
No.
That was so rude. That was so rude.
Paula.
That was so rude. Why do you want to let the American people, why would he care about me? That is so rude. I'm sorry. That is so rude. You don't have to do it that way.
I mean no disrespect,
That was
Paula.
so rude. That's exactly what I put up with every day. Why should he care? Why? I'm not worth anything. Anybody
It has
doing
nothing
anything.
to do with you being worthy.
That is... how many more questions do we have?
Paula, I mean no disrespect.
Well, I took
Please.
it that way, and I don't appreciate it. I have enough people
apologize.
screaming about me and talking about my new nose and everything else. Everybody else has plastic surgeons and get noses done. But no, I don't have a right, and I'm not pretty enough, and I'm not good enough.
Paula, your case resulting in the impeachment of Bill Clinton. You got an $850,000 settlement as a result of your case. Tell us your story. He was the Attorney General then at the time.
No, he was the governor.
He was the governor at the time?
He was the governor at the time. And I was asked to work the governor's quality management conference with another lady there from the office. It was at a hotel. It was called the Excelsior Hotel at the time. The governor was late, and I think he was notoriously late. A lot of times he was known for that. And he came up, and the press, the little local press, was trying to give him an interview and everything, and it was out in front of us, out in front of our table.
Right.
Well, he was kind of staring at us, staring at me and my coworker a lot. And then he, after all that he went in, and we were out there, and the state police, his security, was there hanging out with us. And later that day, before the end of it, he came over and he said, the governor would like to meet with you. I didn't know why, but I was excited. And he said, it's okay, we do this all the time. Well, that made me feel comfortable. I knew it was the state police. He had a gun. And I thought, well, nothing's going to happen. I mean, they're going to be, you know, I'm going to be safe. So he took me up there to the room. I walked in, and we introduced ourselves, whatever. And
Just you, not your friend?
No, I was by myself. No, she never was asked to go up there.
Just you?
I was by myself, escorted up to the room with the state police, who was his security. We did some small talk, and then he started kind of getting a little comfortable and trying to, he said that he loved the way my hair flowed down my back of my clothes, and he liked my curves, and then I'm like, that at that point, that was, I didn't know what to do. I mean, this is a governor telling you this stuff.
Where was the security guard at this point?
He was still outside. It was just me and him in the room. And I went on over to try to, I'm thinking, how can I do to distract him? How can I do to distract this situation? And I knew he was sitting out there, knew he had a gun. And so at this point in time, I'm getting a little nervous. So I walked over to the window, and I was looking out at the river. I said, oh my, this is a beautiful view from up here at, you know, up here at the river. And so he said, yeah, you know, kind of trying to small talk, you know, me. And then he leaned up, and he pulled me up towards him, and he was going to try to kiss on me. And so then I tried to distract him again. I was trying to, and I thought, what am I doing? My mind is racing so fast that I don't realize what was even going on. You know what I'm saying? It's like, this is not happening. And I said, well, I may need to be going or something. And next thing you know, he pulled down his, he sat down, pulled down his pants, his whole everything, and he was exposed. And I said, I'm not that kind of girl, and I need to be getting back to my desk. And
did you walk out then?
I was trying to, and then when he got his pants up and everything, I was trying to walk over. He rushed over and he grabbed the door facing to where I couldn't get out, and he said, "You're a smart girl. Let's keep this between ourselves." And of course, I didn't have any intentions of really telling anybody. I was scared at that point. I walked out, and the trooper was sitting there with a smirk on his face.
It's pretty amazing now when you go back in retrospect, and people, I think, are hearing this a lot for the first time. Kathleen, this was the worst day of your life. You had, like all of you, you were supporting Clinton. At this point now, he's in the White House. He's the President of the United States. You were going through a troubled time, and your husband has some financial issues, and you want a job. And he knew you well enough that he gave you an appointment in the Oval Office with him, correct?
Right, we were friends.
Right.
So thank you very much for coming, and these four very courageous women have asked to be here, and it was our honor to help them. And I think they're each going to make just an individual short statement, and then we're going to have a little meeting, and we'll see you at the debate. Perhaps we'll start with Paula.
Well, I'm here to support Mr. Trump because he's going to make America great again. And I think everybody else should vote for him. And I think they should all look at the fact that he's a good person. He's not what other people have been saying he's been, like Hillary. So think about that.
Let's take a detour to this Kathy Shelton story, who, when she was 12-year-old, was raped, and Hillary Clinton defended the rapist as a favor to one of her friends. Let's check it out.
Let's go back. You're 12 years old. You went through a vicious, violent rape. You were in a coma as a result for 5 days, stitched up. As a result, you can't have children?
99% chance that I can't.
Yeah.
Which is pretty much saying no.
And you had that. You learned that at the time.
Yes, the doctor came in and told me that before I was released.
Mm-hmm. Walk us through what happened in your case when you were 12 years old.
My mom was sending me to church with some friends that was a couple blocks away, and I wanted to ride my bicycle because it was still light, and after it was over she was going to pick me and the bicycle up. But before I made it there, I was yanked off the bicycle by two guys, which one was underage, so they're not able to bring him up. Mm-hmm. I was took him on a road. I was trying to get out. First I told them I wasn't going with them, and I was going to try to leave, and they wouldn't let me. They yanked me off the bicycle, and I was taken out on a road somewhere, and by that time pretty much my clothes was ripped off of me, and I was screaming and crying, and I couldn't get nobody's attention. It was like this road, all I could see was fields, and they raped me there, and they beat me so bad that I think they thought I was dead when they left. But I remember him saying, "You like it, don't you? You like it. You want more of it."
You're 12 years old. You were in a coma for 5 days after?
Yes, sir. I crawled to a porch that I still don't know where it is to this day, and they were coming back to finish me off, and this lady turned her porch light on. I was told it was a lady. Is how I know that. I have no idea who it is today, and that's what saved me. She got their tag number, and I fell out at that time, and I woke up 5 days later.
And you it was so brutally violent. You needed stitches. You were brutally raped.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Hillary Clinton said she did a favor for a friend to be the attorney for the accused in this case. And as we just played, I had him take a polygraph test, which he passed, which forever destroyed my faith in polygraphs. And then she laughed. She was bragging about getting this guy off. Now, he faced 30 years to life. He ended up getting off with time served. So my question to you is, when you hear those words and her bragging about that case, a fascinating case as she calls it, what is she communicating there?
That she's going to win her first case, whatever it takes, if she has to lie, cheat, or steal.
Doesn't it also imply that she thinks he's guilty?
Yes, sir. Definitely.
Which forever destroyed my faith
Oh,
in
yeah.
polygraphs.
Oh, yeah. She thinks she's guilty, or she wouldn't have said that.
As part of the court filings in this case...
I don't think she thinks. She knows.
She knew.
Yes, she knew he was guilty.
It happened on this stretch of highway in Fayetteville, Arkansas, back in 1975. A 12-year-old girl brutally attacked by a 41-year-old man. They were reportedly in his pickup truck after midnight and parked in a ravine. That's where she says he beat and raped her. The sixth grader ended up in the emergency room. The young lawyer called on to defend the suspect in the case was none other than Hillary Rodham. Just 27, she had moved to Arkansas to be with her then-boyfriend, Bill Clinton. Hillary Rodham was running the legal clinic at the University of Arkansas in Fayetteville. The defendant, Thomas Alfred Taylor, who denied the charge, had requested a woman lawyer. So the judge appointed the future Mrs. Clinton. It would be her first criminal defense case. Malin Gibson was the prosecutor at the time.
The day after she was appointed, in fact, she called me and wanted to know if I could get her unappointed. She didn't want to represent the rapist.
Despite her objections, Clinton immersed herself in Taylor's defense, as she was legally obligated to do. In this affidavit seeking a psychiatric evaluation of the victim and signed Hillary Rodham, the rookie lawyer painted the victim as emotionally unstable, suggesting she'd brought false accusations like this before, that she fantasized about older men, and that experts say children like the victim tend to exaggerate or romanticize sexual experiences. CNN contributor Josh Rogan interviewed the victim, now in her 50s, back in 2014, nearly 4 decades after the crime. The victim said the allegations in the affidavit are untrue, that she'd never romanticized sexual experiences or made any false accusations before.
There's never been any evidence presented by anyone to substantiate the allegations that Hillary Clinton made in that affidavit. To the victim, this was an attempt by Hillary Clinton to smear her in order to exonerate her attacker. The victim believes that Hillary Clinton lied in order to win.
Clinton also insisted on getting her own expert opinion on the accused rapist's underwear, after the crime lab had cut out the key part of the sample to test, then lost it. In a bold move for a first-time defender, Clinton brought what was left of the accused rapist's underwear from Arkansas all the way here to Brooklyn, New York, more than 1,200 miles, just so a renowned forensic expert she'd hunted down could look it over. A move considered aggressive even by the prosecutor's standards. Maybe so, but it worked. Clinton's expert cast doubt on what was left of the evidence, saying it hardly showed the defendant's blood or semen. The prosecution's case quickly started to unravel.
We began to scramble and consider possibilities of lesser offenses.
The story was mostly forgotten until in 2014, audio emerged of Clinton talking about the case with an Arkansas journalist back in the 1980s. Listen to her laugh describing the moment she delivered her forensic expert's findings to the prosecutor.
I handed it to Bailey Gibson. I said, "Well, this guy's ready to come from New York to prevent this miscarriage of justice."
Those recordings were played for the victim by Josh Rogan during his interview. Her reaction was anger.
When I heard that tape, I was pretty upset. You lied on me, and you're supposed to be it for women? Do you call that for women? What you done to me? And I heard you on tape laughing.
There is another piece of audio that Clinton's critics have pointed to for some time. Clinton on the same tape laughing about her client passing a polygraph.
He took a lie detector test. I had to take a polygraph, which he passed, which forever destroyed my faith in polygraphs. But you know what was sad about it was that the prosecutors had evidence.
But whatever evidence the prosecutor had was trumped by Clinton's defense. In fact, even the prosecutor told us Clinton was doing what any good defense attorney would do.
She was just doing her job. She was going to present the best defense she could, and she was certainly going to require us to prove his guilt.
In a plea deal, she got her client's charges reduced from rape to unlawful fondling of a child. For rape, Thomas Taylor could have gone to prison for life. Instead, he was sentenced to 1 year in the county jail. Even that was reduced 2 months for time served. Clinton was asked about the case weeks after her audio tapes emerged, during this interview with an online parenting network in Britain.
When you're a lawyer, you often don't have the choice as to who you will represent, and by the very nature of criminal law, there will be those who you represent that you don't approve of, but at least in our system, you have an obligation, and once I was appointed, I fulfilled that obligation.
No matter her explanation, the victim sees it very differently.
She said that the sentence was a miscarriage of justice. In the victim's view, you cannot at once smear a rape victim and then turn around and claim to be a defender or a role model for women.
As part of the court filing, she filed an affidavit, and she wrote that she had been informed, this is talking about you, the victim, was a girl that was emotionally unstable, had a tendency to seek out older men and engage in, quote, fantasizing. I'd also been told by an expert in child psychology that children in early adolescence tend to exaggerate or romanticize sexual experiences, and adolescents in disorganized families, such as complainants, are even more prone to exaggerate behavior.
My mom was a very strict mother on me. Matter of fact, when I was 18, it was almost impossible to do anything then, but at that time, after what happened to me, I didn't want to do anything.
Understandable.
All of those things, Sean, that Hillary Clinton put in that affidavit were intended to force Kathy to undergo further psychiatric evaluations and interrogations. They were all things that were intended to portray her as a liar, someone who made up this rape, that if there was a rape, that if there was sex, it was consensual at her age as a virgin of 12 years old. And all of those tactics are things that you would never expect some sort of women's rights advocate to engage in, because
Isn't that blaming the victim?
That is blaming the victim.
Don't we have rape shield laws that prohibit this?
Almost every state now would prohibit those tactics, and you would expect someone like Hillary Clinton, some sort of self-proclaimed feminist who cares about women and children, to not need a rape shield law in order to zealously defend a client without engaging in the tactics of blaming the victim.
Kathy, obviously this has impacted you your whole life. What do you want the American people to hear out of this? It's pretty obvious she knew this guy was guilty.
Just about every speech that I've seen Hillary do, she says, I'm for women and children. And if she was for children, she would have not put me through what I went through.
Last question. This election is in 26 days. She's running as, isn't it time for a woman to be president of the United States?
Not like that.
Okay. Kathy Shelton.
Yes, I'm also here to support Trump. At 12 years old, Hillary put me through something that you would never put a 12-year-old through. And she says she's for women and children. And she was asked last year on what happened, and she says she's supposed to defend whether they did it or not. Now she's laughing on tape, saying she knows they did it.
You went through all of that?
Yes, sir, I did.
When I was a 27-year-old attorney doing legal aid work at the law school where I taught in Fayetteville, Arkansas, I was appointed by the local judge to represent a criminal defendant accused of rape. I asked to be relieved of that responsibility, but I was not, and I had a professional duty to represent my client to the best of my ability, which I did. He later pled guilty to a lesser included offense. When you're a lawyer, you often don't have the choice as to who you will represent, and by the very nature of criminal law, there will be those who you represent that you don't approve of, but at least in our system, you have an obligation, and once I was appointed, I fulfilled that obligation.
I'm Kathleen Willie. Everything today, politics is about spinning and sound bites.
Third woman that Trump brought up in that debate, Kathleen Willie.
That's what it's about.
An education from a woman caught in the middle of a political firestorm known as the White House sex scandal. Kathleen Willie alleged the president made unwanted sexual advances toward her in 1993. When word of that came out, press from around the world came looking right here for Kathleen Willie.
The media will do anything to get you to talk to them. They'll stop at nothing. It's just a game. It's just a game. They just glom onto something that's happening, and they run it out to the very end, and with no holds barred.
Willie told me the story of a tabloid reporter who walked around her home for 2.5 hours trying to get in. She finally had to call the sheriff to have the man removed. Willie escaped most of that when she went to Florida to hide out at her fiancé's home. A man who was a rock in what was for Kathleen Willie a ceaseless storm.
This tape is generating intense interest. In just 48 hours, it's become the single most talked about story of the entire 2016 election on Facebook, with millions and millions of people discussing it on the social network. As we said a moment ago, we do want to bring in questions from voters around the country via social media, and our first stays on this topic. Jeff from Ohio asks on Facebook, Trump says the campaign has changed him. When did that happen? So, Mr. Trump, let me add to that. When you walked off that bus at age 59, were you a different man, or did that behavior continue until just recently? And you have 2 minutes for this.
As I told you, that was locker room talk. I'm not proud of it. I am a person who has great respect for people, for my family, for the people of this country, and certainly I'm not proud of it. But that was something that happened. If you look at Bill Clinton, far worse, minor words, and his was action. His was what he's done to women. There's never been anybody in the history of politics in this nation that's been so abusive to women. So you can say any way you want to say it, but Bill Clinton was abusive to women. Hillary Clinton attacked those same women and attacked them viciously. 4 of them here tonight. One of the women, who is a wonderful woman, at 12 years old, was raped at 12. Her client, she represented, got him off, and she's seen laughing on 2 separate occasions, laughing at the girl who was raped. Kathy Shelton, that young woman, is here with us tonight. So don't tell me about words. I apologize for those words. But it is things that people say. But what President Clinton did, he was impeached. He lost his license to practice law. He had to pay an $850,000 fine to one of the women, Paula Jones, who's also here tonight. And I will tell you that when Hillary brings up a point like that, and she talks about words that I said 11 years ago, I think it's disgraceful, and I think she should be ashamed of herself, if you want to know the truth.
Can we please hold the applause Secretary Clinton, you have 2 minutes.
Well, first, let me start by saying that so much of what he's just said is not right.
That most of what he said is not right. But she's smart because she knows the law. Just because what he said is not right don't mean it ain't true. And by law, yeah, that's right. Now she's lying to y'all because you would interpret that as if she's saying what he is saying is not true, when in fact she's not saying that. She's just saying what he's saying is not right. And it's not right what he's saying, is it? Yeah, he's talking about some shit that's wrong.
But he gets to run his campaign any way he chooses. Any way he chooses.
Fly pulling in there right there. All these politicians are so full of shit. These flies just always land on them, no matter what. Now let's peep some more SNL clips on what Norm MacDonald had to say about Bill Clinton before we get to the real crazy shit.
The White House says that surviving relatives of those who died in a 40-year-old federal study which allowed men infected with syphilis to go untreated will get an official apology from President Clinton. According to the president, quote, "If not for the sacrifices of these brave men, I would not be alive today." On Tom Snyder this week, actor Tony Danza said he thought the recent open display of affection by lesbian couple Ellen DeGeneres and Anne Hesh in front of President Clinton was extremely disrespectful. On hearing the comment, President Clinton responded, "Someone should tell Tony Danza to shut the hell up." Well, the White House is an empty nest this week following Chelsea Clinton's departure to begin studies at Stanford University. A wistful President Clinton says that while it's difficult to see his daughter grow up, at least now he'll feel less guilty about hitting on her friends. The White House is an empty nest this week following Chelsea Clinton's departure to begin studies at Stanford University. A wistful President Clinton says that while it's difficult to see his daughter grow up, at least now he'll feel less guilty about hitting on her friends.
So all the SNL jokes and everything about Vince Foster and the victims of his sexual harassment and all that type of stuff eventually got the eye of Bill Clinton. So he was invited to the White House correspondent dinner. You know, it's like a roast of the president. They invite a few comedians. Lately, they've been inviting a lot of liberals to these things, and we got to do a video on the last one that happened. Trevor Noah humanizing Joe Biden the best way he could. But if you're not one of them liberals and you get invited to one of these things and you're known for making jokes about the president and all that type of stuff that's in an unfavorable way, I'd think twice, but I don't think Norm did.
All right. I won't be as funny as that last bit. Just so you know. Well, good evening, Mr. President, Mrs. First Lady, and the distinguished members of the Radio and Television Correspondents' Dinner. You know, when I accepted the honor of performing here tonight, one thought crossed my mind, and that was, please, God, don't let me bomb in front of the president. But I'm not worried. What the hell do I care? You know, I worked on all my jokes. I got a lot of help from my joke writer, Don Imus. He was helped me a lot. Are you familiar?
The senator suggests that the Clintons hung around with unsavory characters in Little Rock. What the hell is he talking about? All of his friends have bodies in the trunks of their cars.
You know, this guy, he's a funny guy. He wrote some jokes. Anyways, the dinner was great. You enjoyed the dinner? We had some salmon. Yeah, it was delicious. It was great. And I thought it was refreshing to see Democrats serve something other than subpoenas for a change. I thought that was nice, you know? I'll be doing some jokes later. I just thought I'd...
Look at that. It's no secret that the Democrats are for putting people in prison. This is why they see through all that pandering to so-called less fortunate people, because you wouldn't be encouraging them to do any acts that'll get them thrown in jail. But when you realize who the Democrats are and that they're for putting people in prison, it makes a lot of sense, don't it?
But you know, it is rather daunting to me. I'm just a guy, you know? What the hell am I? And here I am, you know, I look out, I see President Bill Clinton, you know, I see Secretary of State Madeleine Albright, you know, media mogul Rupert Murdoch, you know, broadcast legend Larry King, you know, pornographer Larry Flint.
Now, as of now, it ain't no secret that Bill Clinton has some strange friends. Now, Larry Flint, the owner of Hustler magazine, is one of them.
The People vs. Larry Flint, the film, has received 5 Golden Globe nominations, including one for Best Picture. Although it enjoys widespread acclaim in the film community, it has also drawn criticism for its depiction of the controversial founder of Hustler magazine. Gloria Steinem, author and founding editor of Ms. Magazine, spoke out against the film in a recent op-ed piece for the New York Times, January 7th, 1997. She joins me now with Tanya Flint Vega, who calls the film's portrayal of her father a pack of lies. We've got a short amount of time. I want to get your point, because Larry Flint was here in a show that we did some time ago, about a month ago, and I would, if I'd had you together, I would have preferred to do it that way. Why did you write this? What's the point that you want to say about Flint, about the film, about Hustler?
I sat in the audience and watched this film, and because I know the images of pain and degradation and torture and, I mean, it's hard to express what's in Hustler, I can't tell you how heartbroken I felt to think that somebody like Flint would be made into a First Amendment hero when the publisher of a Ku Klux Klan magazine or of a Nazi, you know, rag of some kind would not. And
who have also, in your argument, done
exactly the same thing.
Same thing. They have made First Amendment arguments.
Yes, the 2 much more important First Amendment cases have come out of Klansmen marching in Skokie and Nazis in Illinois, you know, and
sure.
This is not a very important ruling. It only has to do with the right to parody a public figure. And to aggrandize him as, you know, a free speech hero is a joke. He doesn't care about free speech. That's just a way of making it intellectually palatable. And to show him as being into sex when actually he's totally into violence is also wrong. So, you know, if he showed in Hustler exactly the same images of animals even, much less of African Americans, of Jews, or whatever.
There would have been much more protest.
No, protest. The movie never would have been made.
Yeah. Never would have been made because they would have known that...
They would have taken that kind of violence more seriously. If you showed an African American man being put through a meat grinder with his flesh coming out the other side, if you showed a Jewish man bound to a car or a man with a jackhammer into his genitals, this is the kind of thing that Flint shows about women.
Are you saying that you think that nobody took time to say who this guy is, or are you saying they don't care because his degradation was of women?
No, I think they don't care because it's of women, so anything goes if it's sexuality. But I also think this is part of a larger effort on the part of the this is the first mainstream part of this effort to make it seem 2 things. One, that if you're against pornography, you're against the First Amendment. It's ridiculous. I'm against pornography. I'm also against censorship. I use my free speech to speak out against pornography. And also, if you're against pornography, you're against sex. That's also ridiculous. It's like saying that rape is the same thing as sex.
So you say the First Amendment should apply to
that's
Flint,
easy.
but let's not glorify him.
No, but that's easy. That's easy. You know, that's like saying there's oxygen in the air. Why are we glorifying somebody we would never glorify if he was attacking any group other than women of all races?
Your point about this is a different one. You're saying that they don't know the man that I see portrayed on the screen, the man who sat here at this table in an interview that I recorded earlier, is not the man that you knew.
It's not my father, no. No. He's portrayed as being very likable in a lot of ways.
By Woody Harrelson in the film.
Right. I agree with Gloria. A lot of the things that my father has put me through growing up is not being shown in the movie. It's not being revealed. And I think that that's a lot of who my father is. My father humiliated me, made me feel bad because I was a woman. And I think if he were portrayed for who he really was, I don't think that people would be clapping and cheering in the movie theaters when they went to see the movie. I think it's a dangerous message. It's a dangerous message to people who have been abused. It's a dangerous message to people that are tied up in pornography and have a problem with it or have been hurt by it. And people are ignoring those victims. And I'm speaking out for those victims. This is a very difficult thing for me to do, but it's very important because he is being glorified despite his millions of dollars worth of PR or however much he puts into that.
What is it you want to say about him other than, I mean, what is it that you want known about him?
Well, I want people to realize that he does not care about free speech. He cares about his money and protecting his assets, and that's it. If it were anything other than the First Amendment, he would have used that. He abused me.
He probably wouldn't deny that, would he? I mean, I don't think that he sees himself as a champion.
He does.
He does.
Yeah, he actually was saying that on your show. He sees himself as a champion of civil rights and so on, but he suppresses the right of speech of people who criticize pornography.
Did you meet anybody, any heroes of yours? You meet any big celebrities?
Yeah, I met Larry Flint. He's not my hero, but he's a guy. He's a famous guy.
Sure, he's famous. He's well known.
Yeah, I enjoy meeting famous guys, you know. And he came out, he's in a wheelchair, and he talks like this. He goes, and, but he was, it's not his fault. It's not his fault.
No, I know.
He was shot.
On March 6, 1978, during a legal battle related to obscenity in Gwinnett County, Georgia, Flint and his lawyer were shot on the sidewalk in Lawrenceville by Joseph Paul Franklin, supposedly. The shooting left Flint partially paralyzed with permanent spinal cord damage and in need of a wheelchair. Flint's attorney was seriously wounded. Flint's injuries caused him constant, excruciating pain, and he was addicted to painkillers until multiple surgeries deadened the affected nerves. He also had a stroke caused by one of several drug overdoses on his analgesic medication. He recovered, but then pronunciation difficulties thereafter. Franklin, a militant white supremacist and serial killer, also shot Vernon Jordan. He targeted other black and Jewish people in a killing spree from 1977 to 1980. Violently opposed to miscegenation, he confessed to the shootings many years later, claiming that he was outraged by an interracial photo shooting Hustler about Flint and a Hustler pictorial. He stated, "I saw that interracial couple having sex. It just made me sick. I threw the magazine down and thought, I'm gonna kill that guy." Yeah, right. Flint himself suspected the attack was a part of a larger conspiracy involving ultra-right elements surrounding U.S. Representative Larry MacDonald, also behind the Karen Silkwood case, with ties to the intelligence community, and that Franklin may have been subject to, get this, MK Ultra style mind control. Franklin was never brought to the trial for the attack on Flint. Franklin was eventually charged in Missouri with 8 unrelated counts of murder and sentenced to death. Flint expressed his opposition to the death penalty and stated he did not want Franklin to be executed. Yeah, like a typical Democrat. If y'all can't tell, he's like one of them typical left-wingist Democrats. That's why he used this MK Ultra right-wing theory as his advantage in the case or whatever. As you can see, Franklin was executed by lethal injection on November 20th, 2013. And as you can see, this guy took all the fucking rap for probably some other deaths that were, you know, related to some shit. As you know, Clinton and them, you know, people died fucking with them. And this guy just took the rap for all of this shit. This all entertainment. As you can see, the guy that even shot him is used in the left-wing nonsense, you know, perpetuating racism. Oh, the guy didn't like the interracial couple. That supports our little narrative, so let's use that.
But it's funny, I met Larry Flint there. He was there.
Yeah.
They had,
why was he there? Had he been invited? I mean,
it's this thing where they invite, like, they have big guys, like the senator of the North, you know, and
the senator of the North.
Yeah. He's huge.
Senator of the North.
You know, the senator of the South couldn't make it. He was busy. But, so they had the big guys, and then they had the kind of what they call the the novelty guys, you know, and they had
The novelty guys.
yeah, just the guys to spice it up. So they had Larry Flint, you know, in his wheelchair. You know, he had some problems there, you know.
Yes.
And so he, like, after the thing, he was like wheeling around, and then he saw me. He goes, "Hi!" He talks like that, you know.
All right, Norm.
But I'm just going to talk as if he talked
Okay,
regularly.
fine,
So he goes, "Hey, Norm, you know, hey, how you doing?" So I go, "Hey, how's it going, Larry Flint?" And then he goes, "Thanks for doing the movie." I was in his movie.
Oh, you were in the movie?
Yeah, you know, the people against Larry Flint?
Sure, yeah.
I was one of the people. He says, when you come out to L.A., he says, he's being friendly, he says, "Come on out to L.A." Meanwhile, people are listening because it's Larry Flint talking to a guy. He goes, "When you come out to L.A. there, Norm," he goes, "I'll take care of you," you know?
Yeah, what exactly? What are we talking about?
I don't know what that, I didn't, because I don't.
After all this Epstein shit with the ties to the Clintons and everybody, it could mean blackmail. The guy owns a Hustler magazine like Hugh Hefner. I'm sure Hugh Hefner blackmailed a couple people. This is all entertainment. If he was a bad guy, he would. Not saying he did. The lady on the show with his daughter said she knows what goes into them magazines, and she didn't really specify, like, you know, the big secret or some shit. But trafficking, I mean, like torture, she was talking about a whole bunch of
different. I mean, like if my Uncle Basil said that to me, that would mean, you know, he'd fix me a nice chicken pot pie, he'd take me to a Twins game, you know, he lives in the Minnesota area, maybe a cherry cobbler, I don't know, you know. But Larry Flint,
could be a different
that's
deal.
A different thing,
Yeah.
you know. That's a different thing. That's a different thing.
In his magazine, he threatens me, he shows me, you know, and other feminists, I'm not alone, you know, being eviscerated, probably killed, you can't quite tell, and so on, because we speak out against pornography. Puts us on most wanted. You know, he's not as if he believes in free speech, let's put it that way.
All right. I mean, my assumption was that he sort of saw himself as a champion, notwithstanding what he had said, that he saw himself really as a champion. I mean, he knows who he is. He knows what he's about.
He says that pornography, there is no evidence to show that that pornography is harmful to anyone and that there are no victims of pornography. That's absolutely untrue. I am a victim of pornography. And that's a fact that he needs to face. And he needs to stop putting this material so close to people that it's shoving it down their throats. I think by making this movie, it makes Hustler magazine, people are going to run out and say, this is he's protecting my free speech. It's okay to buy this. It's okay to keep it around kids. It's making it more mainstream. I think it's a problem. When we start looking to Larry Flint as a hero, we have got a problem. This man put me through literal hell in my life. He is a monster. He is not a hero. And I think it's important for me to say that and for people to know that.
I'm glad we have a chance to give you the forum to say that. What do you want to accomplish here? I mean,
well, I want, first of all, other women who feel this way, who know there's something wrong, to understand they're not crazy. You know, I mean, who feel heartbroken. I mean, I could have cried in that theater. I've never felt so hated in my life. Never.
Never felt so hated.
Right. Because I know what's in Hustler. I know what's in Hustler. I know what's in Hustler. And I am watching a huge Hollywood movie glorifying. So it's not
with
different.
No real consensus, no
it's
real
not different.
sense.
It's exactly like, you see, I mean, it's hard to convey because it's so accepted, sadomasochism and so on, you know, as part of sexuality.
He said to me, hey, now he's a good guy. He's a good guy. No, but this is what he said to me, Conan. He goes, when you're in Los Angeles, you know, I told him I was coming to Los Angeles. He goes, when you're in Los Angeles, he goes, look me up. He goes, I'll take care of you. But Larry Flint, that means, you know, I'll get you a couple of hot, dirty broads, you know, and then while you're having sex with them, I'll come into my wheelchair. You know? Who knows what it means?
Okay.
Could it mean that them same females that are being used to take care of Norm with are the same ones being used to possibly blackmail him with, and are the same ones that this woman was just speaking on being used in the magazine? Are they used to blackmail people? Have they been forced against their will to, you know, lay with certain people to blackmail them? This was all talked about in the Epstein shit and everything. This all public information. It's all entertainment.
Care package from House of Hollywood.
It's a care package.
A lot of nice goodies in there. So.
May I look at the care package now?
Yeah.
Do you hear him talking on the Russell Brand podcast with him and Russell Brand when he was talking about how he was at the party, or when he played the White House Correspondents' Dinner?
Yeah.
And Larry Flint said,
I'll take care of you. Right?
I'll take care of you. And he goes, when a guy says, I'll take care of you, you know, you think you're going to get, like, if he owns a grocery store, you think you're going to get some vegetables. But Larry Flint, you know, you think you're going to get some crazy kooky girl and you're going to get to have sex with her, and then Larry Flint's going to come in his wheelchair just whacking off.
But he does like an impression. The guy jacking off. Larry Flint fucking.
The pornography. I don't think you'd be paying for the pornography.
Of course you won't be paying for it, because he wants to ensure that the act is carried out. So you can shut the fuck up when you go on shows like The View talking about Bill Clinton murdering people.
Pornographer Larry Flint, you know, Dick Morris. The list is starting to drop off a little, folks, but still, you get the idea. It's daunting. Excuse me, I'm sorry, folks. Larry Flint and Dick Morris are giving some sort of hand signals to each other over there. I don't know what the hell that's all about, but it's kind of hard to concentrate. I'm very nervous. I don't know why. And also today I took a visit to the White House. For any of you who haven't taken a visit to the White House, unbelievable. So, you know, awe-inspiring, and, you know, a lot of rich in history, so beautiful, you know. Although I did notice a kind of an odd sign on the president's desk. It said, the yen stops here. Have you seen it? What the hell does that mean? The yen? I thought it was the buck stops here, I'd always heard. You know, of course, they say the White House was haunted. Did you know that? And I thought this was kind of sad. I heard last night that President Clinton charged Abraham Lincoln's ghost $10,000 to sleep in his own bed. So that doesn't seem right to me, you know? I mean... But you got to hand it to the president. His injury is not holding him back from doing the business of the nation, you know. In fact, he just nominated Major General Claudia Kennedy as the Army's first female 3-star general. And I think that's great, you know. She's doing a great job. Apparently, the only thing she's having trouble with is she's having difficulty figuring out how to sexually harass herself. She doesn't know how to... What's that? Guy yells my name for no reason. I have another announcement to make. Is that what you're telling me? That I should make this announcement? You're right. You make a good point with your incoherent gibberish. Here it is. Here's my other announcement. The U.S. State Department, folks, has just issued a travel warning for all women moving past Dick Morris's table. So... I don't know. 3 years ago, an 11-year-old British schoolgirl put a message in a bottle and tossed it into the Atlantic Ocean. Well, this week, she was astounded to receive a reply from halfway around the world. Sadly, the reply read, "You're 11, what are you wearing?" A Nobel Prize-winning scientist has been arrested on charges of sexually abusing a 15-year-old boy. Though the arrest really shouldn't come as a big surprise, his Nobel Prize was in child molesting. And finally, in Burien, Washington, elementary school teacher Mary Kay Letourneau pled guilty this week to having sex with a 6th grade student whose child she bore in May. Miss Letourneau has been branded as a sex offender, or as the kids refer to her, the greatest teacher ever.
I have a priest, by the way.
Can I just ask that because...
I'm not Catholic, but I know...
You have a priest anyway?
I know a priest.
Yeah.
And I feel sorry for them because most of them don't fuck children. I just want to put that on the record, that more teachers children than priests, and yet teachers are heroes and
Finally, someone brave enough to say it, which is great.
You met John Stamos when you were a little girl.
I did.
Right?
I met him when I was 8 years old. I was in Les Mis on Broadway, and he was in How to Succeed. And we were next door, and I saw
that, not you, I saw that John Stamos.
Oh, so then I was next door at the time, 8 years old.
Because it was supposed to be Matthew.
It was Matthew Broderick, and then it became John
and
Stamos.
I went to see it, and I'm like, Matthew Broderick, John Stamos.
Sorry.
So did he remember you, though, when he came to set? Oh.
But he's just, that was years ago. But it
But was he nice when you met him when you were a little girl?
So nice then. And
I think it would be
nice
really
now.
creepy if he remembered her at 8.
Yes, little girl. You were that cute 8-year-old
I
that came
remember
up to me
you.
at dinner.
You're absolutely right. Could you imagine? Didn't we meet when you were 8?
Now, as you can see, he's he's very open with making these type of jokes to people on TV and all that, knowing that that's kind of the subject or topic that they all know to stay away from. They all know not to touch that subject. And he does it quite often, as you're about to see.
Pedophile is driving in a car, and he sees a kid, and the kid is going through a dumpster, and the kid finds a welding hat. A lot of things happen in this joke, coincidentally.
Right.
He finds a welding mask, and the kid puts on the welding mask, and he's running around having fun with the welding mask. And the pedophile goes, "You want to drive, kid?" The kid goes, "Sure." So the kid gets in, and the pedophile says to the kid who's wearing this welding mask, he says, "Do you like to get sucked?" And the kid goes, "Oh, no, what? No." "Well, how about would you like to get my big shoved up your hot ass?"
It's going to have a clean punchline, I know that.
So finally the kid goes, "Oh, I understand. No. I'm not actually a welder."
Right.
That's a crazy joke.
Now, with the history of Bob Saget, you could tell this was like some inside joke type shit. He's just fucking with him. Like, these Hollywood people, I don't know if all of them are into that trafficking shit, but some of them probably got friends in it, and it's like a big joke amongst themselves. Like, all right, y'all fuck with kids, they probably roast each other all day. I don't know. This is all entertainment. But for people who are skeptical of whether he might troll Bob Saget in that situation, like just saying some shit he know he be into and, passing it off as just some stupid ass joke, here goes on a podcast them talking about how Norm trolled his other comedian friends. Let's just check it out.
And so Norm was headlining, and I think there were 3 or 4 comics who were doing 5, maybe 8-minute sets. And at that time, it was all the material they had. They were new comics. And okay, I've polished off my set. I got these jokes, and now I'm going to go out with this guy who's a great headliner, and we're going to do this big corporate gig. And so at the gig, as they were starting, Norm off the top said, "I'm just going to go out there and kind of warm up the crowd, do a little teaser, and then you guys do your sets when I come back." So Norm went up and apparently did everyone else's material. Did all the, is this a story?
Oh
did
my
all their jokes. And what I loved is what I was told to me. They're like, first off, those are the only jokes we had. But the worst thing about it is Norm's jokes were better. Like our jokes were, he had 3 hours and he was going to do an hour on this show. So he was only doing it to fuck with them. And he said, but we were just mortified because it's like, it's not like we have a lesser 5 minutes.
Right.
It's like that was everything. He went, and
What did
then when
they
he came
do?
off, it was just a joke. And he's like, that was
Your
crazy.
turn.
Yeah, your turn.
Oh my
so
God.
I think they just went up and flopped and tried to do crowd work and tried to. And I liked the motivelessness of it.
Yeah.
It was
I know.
Just
And then
because
they have to drive with
them for an hour.
You would.
Hey, wasn't that great when I did your acts? What were you thinking? I must have been crazy.
That's also only a joke for the other comic.
Oh, yeah.
The
Oh, yeah.
audience
It's as
doesn't
inside
know.
as it gets.
That's also only a joke for the other comic. That's also only a joke for the other comic. Only a joke for the other comic. That's also only a joke for the other comic.
Oh, yeah.
The
Oh, yeah.
audience
It's as
doesn't
inside
know.
as it gets.
Yeah.
They saw like a pretty okay opening, and then what the hell happened in the middle?
Right.
And then
Yeah.
the guy that closed came back, and he was
still
really
went on and killed.
Yeah.
So right there, they speak on an instance in which only him and the comics involved in the situation knew about what he was doing. The crowd was clueless. So this is all entertainment, but he does do that. It did seem like when he was talking to Bob Saget and all these other people and on SNL doing these jokes, it seems like he's like saying some inside shit, like, you know, an inside joke, like, oh, we know, but they don't know, but me and you know type shit.
I just think children would be very, but you think, I'll tell you who children, even worse than being around a bush kangaroo and for an Australian child, being around Rolf Harris.
You're just coming out with the obscure Australian references. Nobody in America knows who Rolf Harris is.
They don't?
I don't think so. Rolf Harris is an old I guess he's a folk musician and comedian who now lives in the UK, who it turns out may or may not have been a pedophile.
Yeah. But he was a good man compared to Jimmy Savile. None of this will play very well in America.
This is going to be huge in the UK and Australia. They're going to love you, Norm.
Ladies and gentlemen, it so happens I've spent my life fixing things for people.
As a child, you just thought this guy can make things happen.
He knew everybody.
Can I thank you for everything you do for every good cause?
How on earth do you raise £10 million in 3 years?
With Jim, you accepted things as normal, but it was abnormal.
That is supposed to be me. What did I ever do to you that you would draw that picture of me?
He's very intuitive.
You do a terrific job, Jimmy.
No, that's all front. That's all lies.
He was making the screen in front of him. It's like you couldn't see through it.
He knew fame and power gave him every door.
I am a voluntary helper. Sometimes, when nobody's looking, I help the lasses.
It turns out everywhere he'd been, there'd been abuse.
There's another seat that can catch me out, ladies and gentlemen, but they can't really catch me out. I've got eyes all over the head, you see.
Picture that emerged, people who were in a state of paralysis.
Jimmy Savile has been knighted by the Queen.
Thank you for being with us today.
Thanks very much, Jim.
The allegations are shocking the entire country.
The nation created Jimmy Savile.
I'm not in your world. I'm not constrained by anything. Let me tell you, you really are missing something. In fact, you're missing everything.
When you were young, was Jimmy Savile on the air?
Jimmy Savile?
Savile, as
Jimmy Savile
the British call him?
Very much on the air. In fact, when Jimmy Savile, who, for people who don't remember, was subsequently revealed to be one of our most heinous pedophiles and general all-round rotten eggs, but this only came out after he died. I think we wear things a bit like this.
I knew the bit about pedophile, but I didn't know about the all-around bad person part.
Yes, well, I suddenly realised that I couldn't remember all of his crimes. Yeah. I know they were heinous, and I also didn't want to lower the tone this early in the show and just go into the real detail and nitty-gritty of his paedophilia.
Well, Harry Glitter was friends with your friend Jimmy Savile.
Jimmy Savile, please don't give him the fancy name of Savile, Sir James Savile.
But wouldn't they all get together, kind of in Savile's,
I can't speak for that,
Savile's dressing room? Gary Glitter would come out.
See, there was a number of artists and people who, so for instance, Gary Glitter was caught doing inappropriate things, and his music career, you know, rightly sort of ended almost overnight.
Maybe.
Did he have any? Yeah, but
you could say that.
There was a Christmas song that he had, which in England was a hit every year, would be on the radio every year, another rock and roll Christmas.
Yes.
I don't know who he wrote that with, but they're obviously missing out on royalties now.
And why is it just that I should not get to listen to that anymore?
Well, because he's turned out to be quite an unsavory character.
If it had been T-Rex who had committed those crimes, I still think...
No, because I have a theory. It's to do with the quality of the music.
Yeah.
See, with Jacko, we didn't wipe Jacko out from history because we didn't want to go to weddings and not have Billie Jean.
Exactly.
So it's sort of, if the music was better in the case of Glitter, I think we'd have all. I mean, it felt like the entire world sort of turned their back on the Jacko accusations, right, and just said, well, anything. He didn't start doing this pre-Dangerous. So we can listen to everything from the 70s and 80s. Can I just say as well that Michael Jackson was never convicted of any crimes that I've accused him of. Yeah. So I apologise to Jackson fans and
you remember
family.
the Arab Spring?
Yeah, I just would like to issue a series of apologies again. I just feel like we've got to this point, and I've banded around comments about Michael Jackson which are not substantiated. I'm a huge fan of his police. Excuse me, Norman, you'll have your time.
He was found not guilty.
He was found not guilty of everything. Nothing was substantiated or proven. His music is wonderful. I still am a huge fan of everything pre-Dangerous. After that, I think it's a bit wobbly.
Agreed.
And so I'd like to make no comparison between him and Gary Glitter, who is a convicted.
I mean, even like you say, your unwanted WNT allegations against Michael Jackson. There had to be kids that were like, well, "This is pretty cool."
Yeah.
This is not some old priest.
But a human being, I think anything that you do
But
sexually...
what do you think is wronger?
Wrong in...
More wrong. What do you think is more wrong? Having sex with a child, human being, or an adult pig?
Like, you've got to do one. That's the
You got to
options.
do one, yeah. You're on a deserted
It's
island.
not me, it's some hypothetical
You're
person.
on a deserted
Russell
island
Brand,
with a
and
single
elevated.
tree.
It's
You're
not
on a-
me, it's this person called Doug.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Doug
exactly.
is on this island.
Doug
Look,
is on a deserted
Doug
island.
probably went there because he likes both of these options.
Yeah.
He swam there. What? There's an island with a pig and a kid. How do I get there? Swam there with an erection, using his penis like a killer whale tail, lashing his way to the island.
How old are you?
Well, hold on a minute, that's non sequitur. I think the pig may not be as bothered as a child. I think it could have huge psychological impact on the child. So, out of compassion, I would advise Doug to do it with the pig and to leave the child alone because of the potential psychological impact. Even though the child's on a bloody island anyway, that's going to mess him up, all that Robinson Crusoe crap. But...
Okay, so it's no secret that Norm MacDonald is conservative, and it's no secret that he likes to poke fun at his quote-unquote Hollywood friends who are into this cultish behavior. But because he was mostly loud about being conservative in the days of Bush, who was actually in cahoots with Democrats and shit, they didn't really come down on him too hard. You know, as hard as they did about, you know, what he said about Clinton's murder and all that type of stuff. They didn't want him to go near certain shit. But as this Trump movement comes around and this Me Too movement comes around, they start looking at him a little bit different. And all the Hollywood females got to jump on this movement as well to, you know, play the part, especially on the left. You know, they can't act like they're in these same possible. You can't say that shit. Then when he won, he started saying you can rig it and it was cool. You didn't get banned or nothing for it. Now that this election came up in 2020, you talk about it, you're getting banned. Because guess what? It doesn't exist. Voter fraud, election fraud, that shit don't exist. Huh? And since when the fuck do you get censored for talking about shit that don't exist? Can I make a blog about a fucking unicorn right now, bitch?
He is so bad at lying, he lets the public immediately know he lied. If Trump ever had to take a lie detector test, he'd probably just draw the crazy lines himself. I did not collude with Russia.
Hold up, this just real quick. Hey, bozo, it's a fucking proven fact he did not collude with Russia. And all the Hunter Biden shit is true, which proved that bozos like this is paid to lie to you on TV. He's blatantly lying. Look at this idiot.
Since he announced his candidacy, Donald Trump has been fodder for late-night hosts. And throughout his presidency, they found new material in his policy and speeches and all those tweets. Riffing off Trump has become a ratings bonanza, and some are hitting the president pretty hard, infusing their satire with objection and analysis. But is there comedy in today's politics? Joining me now from Santa Monica, California, Norm MacDonald. Now, full disclosure, we've shared many off-camera laughs. He's my brother-in-law. So, hello, Norm. Welcome to Question Period. So, comedy in the time of Trump, is it more difficult than it was when you were on Saturday Night Live?
It's more difficult in the time of Trump for good comedians, and it's way easier for bad comedians. You know, you don't have a worldview by just saying you don't like Trump. You know what I mean? That doesn't count. Like you can't just say I hate Trump, and that makes you a good person. And the Democrats just can't say I hate Trump, and that means they have a position. You know, that's no position. So for idiots, it's an easier time because you go, well, that guy's the idiot, not me. But if you try to do smart comedy, it's better to stay away from Trump. You know, it's funny that people don't remember, but back in the debates, there was a big issue with Donald Trump saying if he lost, it meant the election. Are you kidding me? I know, I did. Oh, 1 second. Hello? Yes. Oh, I gotta call you back. I'm on the TV, man. Yeah, I'm on the TV right now. Oh my God. Oh, but I'll call you right back. Sorry.
Okay, I'm not going to ask you the
turn the
question
sound
again.
down. I feel that Trump, personally, I feel that he didn't think he was going to become president. And interestingly, the thing that people don't remember was that, but I remember, was that during the debates, there was all this talk of Donald Trump saying if he loses, it means the election is rigged.
Here's why you should question when leftists, liberals, Democrats, or whatever tell you that there's no such thing as election fraud or anything. Because simply, they tell you everything else is corrupt. Everything, all right? Look how the fuck the goddamn election ain't. And that's completely tied to the government, which they tell you is corrupt. Damn. You even see that they saying some shit that don't even make sense. That it ain't corrupt. That's the only thing out this whole shit that works. The fuck out of here. Y'all the ones telling us they corrupt in the first place, but now all of a sudden it ain't? Yeah, anyone who makes a fucking living off of telling you the government is corrupt would never tell you some shit like election fraud is impossible. You would think, right? The fuck? What did they do in that election, man? This all entertainment. I'm full of shit.
Mr. Trump is a friend of yours.
Yes.
I think you would. I know him casually. I've never seen from the man in my meetings with him any trace of racism, any trace of malice.
Comedian Norm MacDonald has had a Tonight Show appearance next after some controversial remarks on the Me Too movement. But that's far from the whole story. Joining us now with more is Raymond Arroyo, Fox News contributor, New York Times bestselling author of the Will Wilder series. Raymond, I know how the Fallon show canceled Norm MacDonald, though know why.
Well, NBC says they did it out of sensitivity to the audience. Norm MacDonald did an interview about this new Netflix talk show he's doing. David Letterman is producing. This is hardly a conservative talk show at all. Yeah. However, he's promoting it, and he made comments about the Me Too movement and his friend Roseanne and Louis C.K. And here's what he said. He said, I'm happy the Me Too movement has slowed down a bit. It used to be 100 women can't be lying. Then it became one woman can't lie. And that became, I believe all women. And then you're like, what? Like that Chris Hardwick guy? I really thought got the blunt end of the stick there.
Yeah, this around the time they're all trying to rally around Hillary to get a story against Trump. It was right when they put out the recordings of Trump saying what he said, and Hillary jumped right on that, knowing what she's going through with them emails and shit. So it's like, okay, you got to believe all women, no matter what. See, because once they start throwing their own to the wolves, like Weinstein and the Epstein and them, they can start just setting innocent people up, no matter what. There's no honor amongst thieves.
He went on to say his friends, unlike the victims, his friends, the comedians, suffered more than the victims did. That he had to apologize for. That was over the line. However, there might be another reason that Fallon and the Tonight Show, Jimmy Fallon went to Norm MacDonald and said, my producers are in the other room crying, so you can't come on the show. He said something about his talk show as opposed to the ones that are already on the air. This is what he said. This might explain his cancellation as well. He said, ever since Jon Stewart, late-night hosts have been forced to become political pundits, you know, even down to Jimmy Fallon. And he is derided for his treatment of Donald Trump and then to be maligned for, quote, unquote, humanizing Trump. Funny, I thought he was human. If you have a nominee for president on your show and he's your guest, then he is your guest.
Oh, Fallon had to apologize for having Trump on, basically, right?
Right. Remember, he messed up his hair. They say he humanized him. But when we reach a point where saying that a president is human, and that's controversial, we've really reached a low point. Now, whether you're watching this Norm Macdonald show or not, Laura, there's a new series on Instagram TV. I know you
I don't even know what that is.
Instagram is their new TV service. It's called Here's the Deal. And it's a 10-episode, issues-driven show designed to spur young Americans to vote in the midterms. Now, who would you think would host such a show, Laura?
Well, they asked me, and I said, no, I'm already busy on.
Well, they found the perfect host to attract those young voters, Vice President Joe Biden.
Folks, with less than 100 days until the most consequential election of our lifetime, we've got to keep our eye on the ball. That's why I'm partnering with Attention on IGTV to break down the issues we all should be voting on this fall. Not complicated policy wonk language or confusing acronyms, just facts, at least as I see them.
Yeah, don't worry about policy, language, and all that hibbity hooblah. Worry about fucking the facts. Like you gotta wear 18 masks to protect you from the facts. Like if you got a dick, you still can be a woman. Them kind of facts. It's all fucking entertainment.
Just facts, at least as I see them.
I think the upper palate is slipping.
Did he say acronym?
Well, how is this going to attract young voters? But I feel like he's about to sell me a reverse mortgage when Joe.
He's not going to be. He's not going to be talking.
Folks,
he's not going to be. Yeah, he's not going to be talking about democratic dating. He's going to be talking about carbon dating.
Well.
Now, of course, this movement of women who are so concerned with women's rights that nowadays they don't even know the definition of a fucking woman, they had to talk to Norm.
It's become a huge hot topic over his comments about Roseanne and Louis C.K. and the Me Too movement. And it led to The Tonight Show, saying that we're going to cancel the appearance, but we wanted him to come and clear the air. So please welcome Norm Macdonald. You took a lot of flack for saying for some things that you said in the Hollywood Reporter, saying that you were kind of glad that the Me Too movement has slowed down, and we don't really know you as a guy who really comments on very much that's going on. So what were you trying to say? Yeah.
Well, I was, print reporters, they ask you questions and they put them all together. What I was talking about was Chris Hardwick, this particular comedian. Right. That was a friend of mine. And, if 500 women go against a man, obviously the guy's guilty. But in the Chris Hardwick one, it was one woman against one man.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So I was saying that I thought it was good that the pendulum was slowing, and Chris Hardwick has been as rehabilitated as he's going to get. He still tells me he can't walk down the street without people yelling stuff at him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But that's what I was trying to say.
Okay. Well, you do raise valid questions about due process and verification of what went on. I think that we would agree with that. That you have to back it up somewhat. But when you kind of lose me when you imply that the hardship that your friend Louis C.K. is a friend of mine too. Really, I know him a long time. That the hardship that he went through is equal to the hardship that the victims went through. Right. That doesn't compute.
No, it's not true.
Can you explain yourself a little there?
Yeah, that's not what I was saying. When this happened, I was working for Roseanne when Roseanne's thing went down, and I called her the next day, and she was crying the whole time I was talking to her. Right. I've known Roseanne for a while, and I was worried about her because she seemed really, really in a bad place. And I said, I can't really talk to you about this because I've never been through anything like this. And I said, I know Louis, and he's been through this, where he's had everything taken from him. Right. And I said, not many of us have gone through this, and so you should talk to each other because you've and then the guy said, what about the victims? And I said, well, the victims haven't gone through this. I was talking about this particular event. Of course, the victims have gone through worse than that. But I'm going to get a victim to phone Roseanne?
No, but that's a good clarification.
Yeah. And that's why it's so important to be able to clarify and to be able to explain.
No, remember, this is a guy who does inside jokes with Hollywood guys about pedophilia and all that. This is a guy who probably believes that the Me Too movement was taken away from the shit that the kids were going through with the child trafficking. You see what I mean? I mean, YouTube was like banning videos about the Save the Children rallies that were real rallies taking place in real places in the real fucking world. But they're most likely prioritizing women who, you know what the fuck to expect when you walk in some of these rooms and have probably done some shit to get to where the fuck they at. So you put responsible adults who should know better than what the fuck they doing over kids who have no power over what the fuck is doing.
Because at the heart of it, I think we are forgiving people. We jump very quickly today, but I do think that we like to forgive. You went on the Howard Stern show yesterday to apologize, and you ended up making it worse because you said you'd have to have Down syndrome not to feel sorry for the victims.
Yes.
Do you regret
you just
saying
keep on
that?
getting into trouble, Norm MacDonald.
It's always bad when you have to apologize
for the apology.
An apology. The
Do you lose it when you're on Howard? Is that what happens, Joe?
well, there is a thing on Howard where there's a recklessness in the studio, and there used to be a word we would all say to mean stupid that we don't say anymore, right?
Yeah.
You know the word I'm talking about? Yes. And stupidly, I was about to say that word,
And you put this.
and I stopped and said, "What's the right word to say?" And then I said a different word that was equally.
Did you realize in that
offensive.
moment that probably
I
offended a lot of
realized
people?
at that moment that I'd done something unforgivable.
Now remember, it's their poisons, their chemicals, their products, all that type of shit that gives these type of defects to human beings and these diseases and shit. And they can't have that. They can't have a spotlight on that. So you're not allowed to. That's why they're taking the words out. It ain't got nothing to do with compassion for the person. Trust me. It's got everything to do with, hey, what the fuck products are making people like this?
Yeah. Right. I mean, it's like things spill out sometimes, and it's just difficult. You also you're friends with Roseanne. She gave you your first job, I
Yes,
understand.
my first job.
And so you put her together with Louis
With
C.K.
Yeah, because I was really concerned about Roseanne, and I don't want someone to end up killing themselves or anything.
Of course not.
Yeah, so.
Don't you think Louis, do you say that you think they deserve a comeback? Now, I was saying yesterday that Louis performed at Comedy Cellar, and what he didn't talk about these allegations in his set, which I would have thought that he would have done. Don't you? I mean, so if he wants to have a comeback, he needs to address it directly, I think, as a comedian. So where's Roseanne's coming back?
Geez, I don't know if Roseanne could ever come back.
Are you worried to speak now because of the backlash that you've received this week? Now are you thinking twice before everything gets out of your mouth?
This is how he's a slow talker.
He talks like that.
But I think just in general, we all have to think very carefully about the words that come out of our mouth because you risk offending somebody or a number of people.
Joy's often said that PC, political correctness is killing comedy.
It is killing comedy.
Do you agree with that?
Yes, I
Even in
agree
the clubs
with that.
where it's a small group.
Yeah.
Well,
often people will come and say, some guy said a joke and you're asked to defend it, and the joke is always horrible. Like it's the worst joke you've ever heard. And you're in this position where you have to defend a terrible joke on free speech, But I always, reporters always ask you, what's offensive? Is anything over the line? And I personally think almost everything is over the line.
They like you to be edgy, and then when you are, you get hurt for it.
Your appearance on Jimmy Fallon was canceled, and he said that his staffers were actually crying about the comments that you made. Were you surprised at that reaction?
Weren't
have
they
you been
crying
surprised
that you were there? They were crying that he was there.
That you were even there. Have you been surprised by this reaction?
Yeah.
Really?
I have been surprised because, I never did anything. I mean, I spoke, but I don't want to be tossed in with people that actually did, not crimes, but sins. Or
you have a new show called The Norm MacDonald Show.
I feel a little weird.
Why?
Well, part of the reason this is all happening, Norm, is because you've now got this show and you're talking to lots of folks, and now in a different way than just being a a stand-up or a funny person, people are asking you questions that, you think your answer sounds fine in your head, but then you say it and it's like, that went over not well.
Yeah.
So the reason I say that this is in part why you got here is because this is very different for you. The conversations that you're having with folks, they're asking you questions that would not that we would talk about, you and I would talk about, but they're not for public consumption.
Right.
And I know what you mean, but when you're talking to a whole bunch of folks, they may not know what you mean because they don't know you. So tell me what's going to be different about your talk show, because I'm told you're not doing any politics, which is probably great. You're not talking about heavy stuff. What are you talking about? Stuff with guests that have to do with their lives and,
Yeah, I'm just talking about, what we wanted the show to be not time-stamped because it's on Netflix.
Right.
And Ted wanted nothing topical.
Right.
So that's good because I don't really know anything topical. And so we just talk about,
people's
eternal
lives.
Questions.
But it's edgy anyway. I saw a clip. You asked Drew Barrymore if she misses cocaine. Am I right?
Oh, yeah.
So, it's an edgy show anyway.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens. But,
it's coming on. Thanks. Listen, thanks for coming to us to talk to us about this.
Well, I hope I hope that I didn't offend any of you guys.
Not at all.
No, it's safe to say that they definitely spooked him the same way they tried to do on the first time. But he is real close friends with David Spade and Adam Sandler and all them. Now, we all know what David Spade's brother went through.
I think women do want something that's interesting.
With her signature bright colors and whimsical designs, Kate Spade's brand brought cheer to so many. But privately, Spade had her struggles. She was found dead inside her Upper East Side home Tuesday morning after allegedly hanging herself with a red scarf. Spade's sister, Rita Sappho, believed her late sister suffered from bipolar disorder. She told the Kansas City Star, Kate seemed to be fixated on the 2014 suicide of comedian Robin Williams, and that there may have been a plan even as far back as then. But Wednesday, Kate's husband, Andy, refuted those claims in a statement to the New York Times, saying, quote, there was no indication and no warning that she would do this. He said Kate suffered from depression and anxiety for many years. She was actively seeking help. Following her sudden death, speculation grew about the state of her marriage, an issue Andy Spade tackled head-on, saying, for the past 10 months, we had been living separately but within a few blocks of each other. We ate many meals together as a family and continued to vacation together as a family. Our daughter was our priority. We were not legally separated and never even discussed divorce. We were best friends trying to work through our problems. Kate Spade was loved by so many for the lifestyle her namesake brand celebrated.
Her clothes represented such a twinkly, fun, very New York lifestyle, and it's so sad.
And for the person she was to those who knew her best. Brother-in-law David Spade paid tribute to her on Instagram with a picture from a family Christmas photo shoot. He remembered her sense of humor, saying, we had so much fun that day. She could make me laugh so hard. Andy Spade added that business problems were not an issue for Kate. He also said he has not seen a suicide note she reportedly left behind, telling their 13-year-old daughter that this was not her fault.
Kate Spade's husband is hiding his grief in a mouse mask. 2 days after Kate's shocking suicide, Andy Spade left his Manhattan apartment wearing the bizarre mask. Photographers surrounded him and expressed sympathy as Spade appealed for privacy.
Sorry for your loss, Andy.
Meanwhile, the New York City Medical Examiner made it official. Cause of death, hanging. Manner, suicide. In a statement, Andy Spade confirms he moved out 10 months ago, but he and his wife remained close. We ate many meals together as a family. We were not legally separated and never even discussed divorce. The statement also denounced the leak of Kate's suicide note, which was addressed to their 13-year-old daughter, B, and reportedly declared, B, I have always loved you. This is not your fault. Ask Daddy.
Now, if you know, on this Patreon, I have the video showing how David Spade and his family pretty much told on some people who were in this world, this cult, and these are Norm Macdonald's closest friends. And you see how, you know, he basically pokes at these guys with these type of jokes about this. Clearly there's two sides in this cult shit. I don't know what the fuck it is. It's all entertainment. One side likes that weirdo shit, and the other side is a little bit more, I don't know, conservative, I guess. I don't know. But they've been bringing down these Satanists left and right. So obviously, one side of this coin is giving information. That's why they killed this man's wife. He had to wear a rat mask in public. Like, hey, I snitched, guys. Don't ever deal with me again.
Okay, so it's you can speed it. You can play it in about the middle. You know, trailer sale for. We could just play it. It comes up.
Don't pay no union dues. I smoke old stogies.
Don't pay no union dues. What's more free than that?
Short, but not too thick around. I'm a man of
So, you know, it's about he lives on a train. He's king of the road.
king of the road.
Now here,
I
listen
know
to this.
every engine on every train. All their children, all of their names.
He knows all of their children and all of their names in the town where he just showed up on a train.
That's not true, probably, right?
It's just
like he
disturbing.
Knows, like I can understand he knows every engineer and where you can get a free meal, you know. But all of a sudden,
every lady
he knows every child's name and where they live.
No.
So the police would go, were you in, you know, were you in town last week? Like, well, a boy's body was found in a third boxcar 4 miles down.
What's his name?
He had to have been leaving a lot of child corpses along the way. When he knew their name, the names and where they lived, he knew where they lived.
Do you feel like you know Dave now? I mean, he loves you, right?
I don't know him at all. I've never met him. He's invited me to dinners, but I never went.
How come?
Scared.
Yeah, I get that.
We were talking about it earlier. Like, I got invited by Carson for a private lunch with Carson.
Tell me you didn't go?
Didn't go.
Look, he basically said he didn't trust to even go to them private little invites he got. You know, this dude was kind of like an outcast, but not in a way. I don't get it. I don't know. He was in Dr. Dolittle with Eddie Murphy. He did a couple films with people that you could say, oh shit, this guy is with them. But then you look at all this and you're like, oh, okay, there's might be two sides to everything. I don't know. This all entertainment.
What were you telling me about children? Like how much you liked children that time? It was very nice. It was like,
what's that?
You told me about how you liked. If you can't remember, it's all right.
I like.
If you're embarrassed by it, it was just a sweet. No, it was a sweet thing. No, if you want to, no, go ahead.
I like children.
Oh, you don't? I don't know. Do you not?
No, I do like children. Yeah.
Oh.
Why?
Well, you said something about it one time, but if you have nothing to say about it, never mind. I'm sorry.
Why do I like children? I don't know.
I think that's a rabbit hole that I don't want to go down.
No, exactly.
I think it's what's.
Yeah.
Oh, not in that way.
That way. No. I do like children. Yeah, I've always liked.
But I feel like when you have that conversation, there's no way to not make it creepy.
No,
like even if it's totally innocent.
Well, in the land that we live in today, I don't think he did. No.
Oh, but is that what you meant?
Maybe he just likes stem cell research.
Oh, fuck. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't.
Like now, he turns and he's like, "What you been? I've got to kick out of here. I've got to get out of here."
Anyway.
I love this completely turned around.
Like my child.
Number one, never said it. Number two, just completely labeled me a pedophile within 30 seconds.
Norm, have you given up on
that way? Wow, I gotta go. Fuck.
Now, you know what my friend told me? He goes, you gotta get woke. You know? Because I'm not woke. But why is it I have to believe fucking, just because some person believes some fucking shit? You know what I mean? Like I was talking to this lady, fucking, that was a man, whatever the fuck it was. It was a man, but it was clearly a lady. So the man says to me, because I'm Christian, the man says to me, how can you believe in an invisible man in the sky? I go, well, I believe you're a fucking man. Ain't that far a fucking jump? Shouldn't she have to believe what I say, or? How dare you say Jesus Christ? How dare you, you fucking ignorant. Anyways, that's the old me. I got my woke jokes. I wrote them on my magic phone. I just started today. But nothing funnier than woke jokes. Nobody gets hurt. Nobody laughs. God damn it, where are my fucking excellent woke jokes? Fuck you, I can't turn my goddamn... You know that, whatever. I have notes on my magic phone and I write them down. But maybe I can just remember it off the top of my head. Here it is. First of all, with woke jokes, you gotta remember one thing. They're not funny. But they're important. And they're said with a great deal of either anger or, you know. So here it is. Hey! Listen, I don't know what's happening to us as Americans, but there's some things that are happening that are wrong. And not who we are as Americans. Now, you take the southern border, and what's happening at the southern border? Well, that is not who we are as America. You know, you may not know this, but there at the southern border right now, today, there are children as young as 2 or 3 years old that are being separated from the people that bought them from the parents or the cartel or whatever, and the kid gets through, and then the cartel guy can't get through, and a deal's a deal. It's not who we are as Americans. Ripped from the arms. I don't think they do that every time, by the way. You know, journalists used to just say, and then they take the, and now it's like, I'm ripped. Is that a baby in your arms? I rip that baby out, and then we'll throw it over there.
Hey, I wanted to ask you, man, these days with your comedy, do you feel like you're walking on eggshells at all? Do you feel more like nervous about stuff you tweet and stuff you say just because of the climate we're in and everything that's happened?
Yeah, like we're going to go do stand-up right now. It's mostly trying out new stuff. You don't have the freedom to just talk and free associate and then, you know, carve it back from there. Because usually the process would be you go way over the line,
yeah,
and then you bring it, you know, and then people go, we hate you, and then you take away all the parts where they hate you, and then you're left with the stuff that's not, you know, that's on the line but not over it.
Is your starting point a little bit more sort of tamer these days?
Oh yeah. It's very calculated and thought out. And
does that hurt your act though?
Yeah, it's way less funny.
Is that right?
Other than it being not as funny, it's wonderful. It doesn't hurt anyone's feelings anymore, but virtually no one laughs. So it's a trade-off.
But so that's really hurt your career in terms of the fact that you're an eggshell comedian. And I don't think like...
I'm an egg, is that a new term?
I just made it up just now. Shouldn't comedy be some sort of sacred place where you're allowed to say whatever's kind of on your mind and like, if it's funny then it's okay?
It used to be, you know, like Jerry Seinfeld always says, the audience will let you know.
Yeah.
You know, when it's gone too far, because they're a cross, you know, representation of the population.
Yeah.
But now it's not enough to get, you know, 99%. You have to get 100%. You know, most of the audience wants to be funny. Doesn't care about anything but that. They just want to escape.
Yeah.
But a tiny a group of people ruin it for everyone else.
And that's who you cater your performance to these days?
I cater my performance to a tiny group of people.
That's sad.
That hate me.
You see, they got him to censor itself towards the end right there. You know, rest in peace, man. You see on that radio show, they did not want to go down that rabbit hole of what he was talking about. They knew exactly not to go there. Like, that was just real awkward. And it just shows you he likes to troll people, like just poking that at them. And that's the number one thing in Hollywood you don't talk about. So I don't know, man. This guy is pretty mysterious.
I wasn't going to talk about the coronavirus. But on the way here, I got really ill. But I think it was because I ate a cherry pie. Like, I got a cherry pie from Bristol Farms, and then I ate it, and then the car was going weird, and I was like, oh. And then he turned on the radio, Jeremy, and then all the fucking news was like, the guy was like, well, there's been so far 11 cases, 50, 200. I don't feel good, you know, you're like, oh. This is not good. I feel like I'm in a fucking middle of a Stephen King novel or something fucking like. What is this? So my plan is just to not die. You know, survive long enough where they find a cure. You know, some people will have to die. But finally they'll find a cure for me. And then I'll thank all this. It's funny how Big Pharma is so evil till now. It's like, what's it, $200 a pill? Yeah, that's good. That's fine. I'll take. Give me all you got. But and now I'm sniffling and I don't know what that is. Could be the cocaine, I guess. I'm so nervous about this goddamn, and then so I take cocaine, you know, and then that makes the anxiety even more crippling. It's funny that we all now know how we're gonna die. It's just a matter of what order at this point. I went to the Costco and the fucking everybody trying to buy shit and everything, like the end of the world. And I'm like, anything? And they go, you gotta make yours. I'm like, I don't know how to make Purell. Oh, I can't touch my fucking face. Remember the good old days when washing your hands didn't take 3 hours? Like A, B, C, D. Just take me now. So the mind never wanders too far from, you know, like I'll be talking about all kinds of horse shit up here tonight, but every moment I'll be thinking of this disease. Just to let you know. Just getting away from you guys a little bit more. But it comes at a good time, this, where we're all quarantined, because we know how to live like that, right? We got our fucking magic phones and computers and everything. We don't need no fucking people. It was the last step between us and happiness anyway, were people. Got the TV and shit. Fucking more interesting people than anybody I know. Listen to fucking First Take and spend my last moments on Earth with Max Kellerman. Oh, God damn. I can taste the baby laxative in this fucking cocaine. Rolling down the back of my throat. God damn. I'm old anyway, so if I die, it won't be as much of a tragedy. I'm 68 years young, I like to say.
Alright, as y'all can tell, this was heavily edited so it can go on YouTube. The full unedited version is on Rumble. Without this part, of course. I gotta add this for the YouTube commentary. This is a doc I made, several months ago, and it raises some questions like, what's going on in Hollywood? Is there two sides? Is there one side that's for, a lot of the immorality? I don't know. This is just entertainment. And then there's another side that's like getting farther away. Now I've got a lot of other stuff we could talk about with this. It's just it's really iffy if I could put it on YouTube and stuff like that. So anybody, I'm Crucial 13 everywhere on all platforms, Rumble, all that type of stuff. All right. So if anybody wants to get the information that YouTube won't allow, you go ahead over there, check it out. And rest in peace, Norm MacDonald. Whether he was with that shit or whether he wasn't, I could tell just by like peeping certain shit that he wasn't all in with the liberals or the leftists. And not all of them are bad. We understand that. But I'm saying he wasn't all in with the negative ones. The real harsh topics that a lot of liberal Hollywood doesn't like to talk about because most part, a lot of people have been busted in them type of activities, so they stay away from the talk of it, But this guy, he's just like talking about it all openly and shit like that. Almost looks like he's poking at him a little bit. But we don't want to get too much in that. This is all entertainment. Nothing I'm saying is fact. And everybody who watched this that like this kind of content, tune into some of my live streams. Every live stream I got up on YouTube has hella replay value. Everything sticks to this day. Everything stands up. And it is because of, content that got too close to the political stuff and all that is why I lost a 12,000 subscriber channel. So if you watching this and figure, wow, how doesn't he have more subs? Well, I did have more subs. You know what I mean? So all my content is pretty decent. So, please subscribe, like, and even share it on your social media platforms. Be much appreciated.
Crucial.
I'm hungry. I need some bacon.
Look at this. Look at it. This is the city I'm in right now.